Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Inclusive Shelves, Titles to Help Curate Your Collection. I'm Julia Smith, Senior Editor for Books for Youth at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by typing the URLs on this screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so that they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Stacey Ashton, publisher at Fabled Films Press, Michaela Stephen, Sales Manager at Second Story Press, Mel Schuett, Assistant Marketing and Publicity Director at Quarto, and Emily Radica and Julia Stivers, authors of MANGA Goes to School with AASL. First, we'll hear from Stacey Ashton. Stacey is the publisher at Fabled Films Press, which creates strong literary properties and educational programs for young readers and middle grade audiences that combine memorable characters with unique author voices. She is a member of the Women's Media Group and has her master's in industrial psychology from NYU. When she isn't working, she can be found reading a cozy mystery, uncovering hidden street corners, new theatrical productions, and the best dessert in New York City. Thanks for joining us, Stacey.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Stacey Ashton, and I just kind of wanted to set the stage for what the next couple of minutes with me will be like. I will be discussing two diverse middle grade book series that you can see on your screen, and these books are also reimagined classics. Pippa Park is a Korean-American take on Great Expectations, and Hannah Edwards is an ADHD interpretation of Hamlet. Before launching into the webinar, I thought I would tell you about Fabled Films Press and our publishing company, Philosophy. We are unique in the sense that we don't publish a lot of titles each year. Instead, each title is intended to amplify the reach of the whole collection. And to support these wonderful books, we have created free turnkey book club and summer reading activity kits that are intended to be both educational and fun. Finally, in the last year, we have been creating middle grade content on TikTok and YouTube to meet tweens where they are and to encourage them to become lifelong readers. On the spreadsheet that Booklist has provided with our titles, there are links to read the books through Edelweiss and to download or request these free activity kits. The new book that we're launching is Hannah Edwards' Secrets of Riverway. It's an exciting small-town mystery that's an ADHD reimagining of Hamlet that offers a fresh and unconventional take on this classic play, but without the murderous revenge. It's also a coming-of-age story that's told through an inventive combination of prose journal entries, listicles, audio transcripts, and poem, and more to keep kids turning those pages. The book opens with a description of Riverway, the small town where Hannah Edwards has a lot on her mind. Her father, the Canola King, is missing, and no one seems to care. With the support of her best friend, Sam Castillo, and sidekick, Tim the Hall Monitor, Hannah embarks on a journey to solve the mystery of her father's disappearance. Along the way, she uncovers family secrets, confronts challenges at school due to her ADHD, talks to a ghost, plans a frog apocalypse, and learns the true meaning of determination and friendship. In-house, we think it's a mystery for readers who like Sammy Keys and kids that like Rebecca Steed's realistic fiction. Now I'd like to play a short video from author Ashley Hards.
Hi, I'm Ashley Hards, the author of Hannah Edwards' Secrets of Riverway. I'm excited to share my new book, which is a middle grade neurodiverse reimagining of Hamlet. My book is a coming-of-age story and a mystery, like Nancy Drew or Sammy Keys. Hannah Edwards' world was inspired by my journeys through rural Alberta and my study of Shakespeare at McGill University in Montreal. It was also inspired by my recent ADHD diagnosis. There is a need for lovable neurodiverse characters. Over 9.8% of kids in the US have ADHD. ADHD is underdiagnosed in girls, and generally, there are few positive depictions of ADHD in the media. My hope is that Hannah Edwards will change the narrative around ADHD. Perfectionistic, empathetic, and eager to learn, Hannah is a character that anyone can connect with, and ADHD girls can be proud to relate to. I hope you enjoy reading Hannah Edwards' Secrets of Riverway.
Earlier, I mentioned that the book is a series of journal entries, and that's because author Ashley Hards initially recorded the book using voice notes and then transcribed it into chapter text for her editor. It was a tool Ashley used to manage her rapid ideas and writer's block that came from her ADHD. This is an unusual writing method, which naturally led to the listicles, scraps of notes between friends, and transcripts of recorded conversations, all contributing to the book's voice. On this slide, you can see how the interior font and typography were designed to increase legibility and readability of the story. We have positive reviews from Booklist, Forward, Publishers Weekly, SLJ, and the American Bookseller Association put the book on its list of neurodiverse books that should be on your shelf. So why should Hannah Edwards be in your inclusive collection? As we heard from Ashley, by creating the character Hannah Edwards, she wanted to debunk common misrepresentations of ADHD characters in the media and portray neurodiversity strengths through Hannah's adventures as a sleuth. Hannah's relatability will bring comfort to kids with ADHD who can see themselves in Hannah's struggles and admire her coping mechanisms. At the same time, neurotypical readers can get a deeper understanding of their ADHD peers while thoroughly enjoying the mystery. One note I wanted to make for those librarians who are from rural communities is that the book takes place in Riverway, where canola is grown. And if anyone's from North Dakota, Montana, Washington, Idaho, Oklahoma, Alberta, or Manitoba, you might even recognize the yellow canola flower on the book cover and understand even more than most readers the small town that the author describes. To support Hannah Edwards in a book club or summer reading program, we've created a free turnkey activity kit. This kit has book club questions written by Pat Scales, word games, and our house favorite, a creative writing choice board with story starters that reflect the journal style of the book. Ashley Hards has also recorded a virtual writing workshop that can be played for your events. For those of you that want to run a program specifically on neurodiversity, we have an educator guide created by Dr. Dawn Jacobs-Martin to explore the perspectives around neurodiversity, along with book club questions to help kids understand the perspective that Ashley Hards created using her personal lens. These programs can be downloaded from our website, and you can also request free bookmarks and stickers. In closing, I'm confident this book will resonate with readers of all ages, as Hannah Edwards' Secrets of Riverway is a heartfelt portrayal of a middle grader with ADHD that invites readers to explore all of these themes, family, friendship, and self-discovery, in a way that's both relatable and inspiring. Pippa Park Raises Her Game by Erin Yoon is celebrating its 5th book birthday this month by surpassing 100,000 copies in sales and rolling out a video diary series on YouTube and TikTok. For those of you that don't know author Erin Yoon or the book series, a recap is in order. We launched the Pippa Park book series, which is a Korean-American reimagining of Great Expectations, a month before COVID. Erin Yoon's ability at that time to pivot from in-person to Zoom and back to in-person events helped create the book's success. Other highlights include Erin on a Get Caught Reading poster, our partnerships with Kibuka, Read Your World, and We Need Diverse Books. I would also like to thank the countless public librarians who suggested the book to their middle graders due to its relatability. As I mentioned earlier, modernizing and reimagining classics is a way for us to introduce and provide connections to classic stories. In this series, the main character, Pippa, is inspired by Pip, the central character of Great Expectations. But it's modernized in a relatable middle grade story about a tween girl in a Boston suburb who lives with her immigrant sister and brother-in-law. Pippa Park Raises Her Game starts off with Pippa getting a mysterious basketball scholarship to a private school where she jumps at the chance to reinvent herself. At school, she juggles old and new friends, a crush on her tutor, and the pressure to get A's and score points on the basketball team while keeping her past and the family's laundromat a secret from her new classmates. As the school year progresses, Pippa begins to receive a string of hateful anonymous messages via social media, and her carefully built persona is threatened. As things spiral out of control, Pippa wonders if she can keep her old or new lives separate, or if she should even try. In Book 2, Pippa Park Crush at First Sight, the drama picks right up where she left off, trying to balance basketball, school, friends, and working in the struggling family laundromat. As you may have guessed from the book cover, Pippa's juggling 2 crushes and is trying to host a Christmas Eve party that could make or break her social life while managing the expectations of her sister's schoolwork and basketball practice. We have positive consumer and professional trade reviews from Booklist, Common Sense Media, The Forward, Kirkus, PW, School Library Connection, and SLJ. The book is still getting callouts. Book Riot featured Pippa Park on a listicle with other middle grade babysitter club read-alikes. Very exciting. Now on to the Pippa Park video series. So our creative team made these videos to create connections to the books in a format that we all know kids like and are used to on YouTube and TikTok. We want these tools to help stop the erosion of reading in middle graders. To date, we have 7 videos that run 2 to 5 minutes, and another 8 full-length videos will drop every 2 weeks starting this Wednesday on YouTube and then on TikTok and Instagram, where we expand on those themes. To take advantage of the Pippa Park video series for your book clubs, summer reading, or May celebrations of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander experiences, we created a specific educator guide with discussion questions for 4 of the videos that reflect the episode's themes and chapters in the book where the theme is discussed. So, as a librarian, you can kick off reading excitement for Pippa Park Raises Her Game by watching the trailer for the series. Then, as kids are reading the books, you can use the educator guide with the next set of videos to discuss both Pippa Park's personal lens as a Korean American and the different SEL themes from each episode and how they connect back to the books. It's our hope that these discussions will strengthen social skills and get kids excited about reading and sharing stories with their peers. Now I'd like to play a trailer from Pippa Park.
Hi, I'm Pippa Park. I love being Korean American. Being on a team makes me feel strong.
My tutor is the cutest boy on the planet.
Why is having a crush making me act so awkward? There's this clan of girls. They call themselves the Royals. Hanging out with a group of girls is a whole nother dynamic. They have rules to them. Is that normal? I think it just got really complicated. I guess I just have to figure it out. I need a snack.
As you can see, we are really trying to support the Pippa Park series for your book clubs, your summer reading programs, or for your AAPI celebration in May. We have additional programs to help you support and reach kids and their families that go hand in hand with the videos. Our free turnkey activity kit has the discussion guide that I just mentioned. It has book club questions from Pat Scales. We have word games, a music playlist activity, a fortune teller activity, and house favorite, an escape room that is compatible with Breakout EDU. But don't worry, if you don't have a kit, we can provide one for your library to borrow for free. Author Erin Yoon has also recorded virtual writing workshop that can be played for your events. For those of you that want to run a program focusing on Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander experiences, we have a specific discussion guide with anti-racism resources created by Erin Sue to explore societal perspectives around these experiences, along with discussion questions for kids to understand the character writer Erin Yoon created using her personal lens as a Korean American. These programs can be downloaded from our website, and you can also request free bookmarks, stickers, and shelf talkers to encourage kids to watch the video diary series and read the books in your library and talk about them with their peers. One final note, the Pippa Park books are part of the Baker and Taylor Summer Reading Book Prize program. So for those of you that order from them, the books are available for a discount, and you could use them to hand out to your best readers. In closing, if you need inspiration, have programming suggestions, or want review copies, please reach out to me at any time. We want to support representation in your middle grade collections with programs that can create excitement for kids. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stacy. Next, we'll hear from Michaela Stephen. Michaela is the sales manager at Second Story Press, an independent feminist publishing house based in Toronto, Canada. She has her Master's of Arts in English Literature from University of Calgary. Outside of work, she enjoys writing, singing karaoke, and collecting strange earrings. Thanks for being here today, Michaela.
Thanks so much, Julia. And thanks so much, Stacy. It was great. It's, tough to follow you, but really enjoyed hearing about your books. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here, tuning in from Toronto, Canada. Second Story Press has been around for 36 years, and we publish books for all ages that explore themes of social justice, human rights, and equality. Our books are distributed in the US by Orca. I'm excited to talk to you about some of our upcoming and recent releases that are a perfect fit to ensure your shelves are inclusive for everyone. Next slide, please. Up first, I have The Fabulous Edwina, a debut picture book from Edwin Dumont. It publishes next month in March 2025. It was illustrated by Melissa Cho, and our whole team is obsessed with her vibrant, playful illustrations. Edwin Dumont is of Ojibwe heritage from the Henvey Inlet First Nation in Ontario, Canada. Since he was little, he has always been dressing up in drag and gone by Edwina. He owns a hair salon and lives in Toronto with his husband. We'll also be publishing this book at the same time in a dual language edition in English and Anishinaabe, which will be great for Ojibwe readers in Minnesota, Michigan, and other states around the Great Lakes and in Canada. The Fabulous Edwina tells a story of a little boy who loves dressing up in his sister's clothes. Today is the day of the figure skating competition at school, and Edwin has decided he's feeling brave enough to enter the competition in his drag persona. Hello world, meet Edwina. Edwina is very nervous, but with the support of her siblings and the confidence in how amazing she looks, Edwina will give her best performance ever. Next slide, please. This is a great book for a story time reading. It's so fun and joyful. Here you can see one of the gorgeous spreads from the book. The Fabulous Edwina has been selected as an all-lit-up book for Winter 2025 by the Toronto International Festival of Authors. So we have big plans for the book launches. The book is being promoted by Kit and Caboodle, a drag queen from Canada's Drag Race, and we're reaching out to queens from RuPaul's Drag Race in the US as well. The book is a perfect one to highlight for Native American Heritage Month and for Pride Month. The book has started getting some great reviews, and we have an educator's guide in the works, which will be available for free for teachers and librarians. We're really excited for this book, and we think readers will be drawn to it. Next slide, please. I also wanted to briefly highlight some of our other LGBTQIA2S+ books. These are difficult times, but kids deserve to see themselves on the page. From picture books to middle grade reads to teen nonfiction, we've got books for everyone. These books have been reviewed widely in Booklist, School Library Journal, Kirkus, and more, and have won or been nominated for several awards. Next slide, please. Up next, I'm excited to share Every Little Bit Olive Tran by Fong Trong. This is the first book in a new early reader chapter book series. Our early reader chapter books are for ages 6 to 8, are in paperback, and feature fun spot illustrations. They're great for kids just starting to read on their own or ideal for kids reading longer books with their parents. Every Little Bit Olive Tran comes out this month, and it's a great spring break read for kids. We already have a sequel planned, and the sequel, Take a Breath, Olive Tran, will be publishing in fall 2025. Every Little Bit Olive Tran tells the story of Olive, who can't wait to celebrate her 10th birthday party. She's excited to get a little bit more independence. She'll be finally allowed to walk alone to her favorite candy store. But when her grandma's friend is pushed near the Asian supermarket and her brother's friends are harassed at school, Olive starts to feel a little unsafe. Then Olive's friend Josh tells her he doesn't want to come to her birthday party anymore because of hateful comments he's heard his dad say at home. Olive lashes out at him and tells him he was uninvited anyways. With support of her mother and grandmother, Olive reflects and decides to show kindness instead. Maybe if she does, others will too. This is a sweet, empowering story that's great for social and emotional learning. Kids can see even the smallest act of kindness make a difference. Next slide, please. As I mentioned, the book features spot illustrations from Christine Wei, which really help bring the story to life. I love the moments where Olive talks to her grandmother and cooks delicious Vietnamese recipes. Christine Wei adds so much detail to her drawings. The one on the left is one of my favorites. The book does have a happy ending where Josh and his dad come to the birthday and apologize to Olive. The book is getting some great reviews, and we've got a free educator's guide in the works for this book. It's already been leveled by Lexile and Faunus and Pinnell. Next slide, please. To build on your collection of books from Asian American and Pacific Islander voices, I wanted to show some of her recent backlists as well. Phong Trong took the idea for the Olive Tran series from her debut picture book, Everyone is Welcome, which also handled anti-Asian racism for a younger audience and was a Books to Gang Picture Book Award winner. As for the others, Alina in a Pinch by Shanaz Nanji and Obasan's Boots by Lara Jean Okahiro and Janice Bridger have also been nominated for several awards, and each have been widely praised by PW and more. Next slide, please. Moving on, I want to highlight the picture book Ups and Downs, one of our recent new releases from fall 2024, which is an excellent book for young kids about mental health. Written by debut author Nancy McNairn, the story is based on her personal experience. Ups and Downs is a tender, heartfelt story that shows the complexities of living with a parent with bipolar disorder. The story follows a little girl who adores her mom. Her mom can sing opera, recite poetry, play music, and she's a lot of fun. There's just one difficult thing. Her mom has bipolar disorder. The story shows the highs and lows and the up days and down days. Sometimes her mom can't sleep and is up all night playing the piano. Sometimes she needs to rest all day, so the little girl has to make dinner for herself and her brother. Sometimes the little girl wishes her mom could be there to help her when she fights with her brother. But the little girl knows her mom is doing her best. And no matter what, she knows her mom's love for her is constant. Next slide, please. The book includes an author's note from Nancy McNairn, which discusses her own personal experience of having a mother with bipolar disorder. Includes helpful information on mental health and can act as a conversation starter for families or classrooms. There are over 400,000 Canadians and 2.3 million Americans with bipolar disorder. This book sheds light on the often misunderstood world of living with a parent who has mental illness from a child's perspective. There are few books in the market on this subject geared towards young children. I love the way that this book demonstrates so much depth and understanding in such an accessible way for kids. It's hard for the family, but there's so much love, which is what matters most. Before taking up writing, Nancy McNairn was an elementary school teacher for over 25 years in English and French. There is a free educator's guide available for the books. Ups and Downs is illustrated by Dorentina Beckerage. Her gentle, warm illustrations help ease into heavier topics like mental illness. In fall 2025, we'll be publishing a translated version of the book in French. Next slide, please. We also have books, several other books for all ages, from picture books to early reader chapter books to teen fiction that talk about neurodiversity and mental health in a positive, authentic way. I'll briefly highlight My Art, My World in particular by Rita Winkler, which is a fun picture book written and illustrated by Rita Winkler, a woman with Down syndrome. These books have been widely reviewed by Kirkus, Publishers Weekly, Booklist, and more. Next slide, please. One of our other new releases from fall 2024 is the picture book I Too Am Here by Morgan Christie and illustrated by Marley Barreau. This is the perfect book to highlight during Black History Month. Inspired by Langston Hughes's famous poem, I Too, this poetic picture book talks about racism, family, and the beauty of belonging in a gentle, accessible way. The story follows a little girl who has a hurtful experience when another girl at school says she doesn't want to touch her Black skin. She goes home and is enveloped by the stories and love from her parents and grandmother, who talk about their own experience, but who insist she belongs, she is home, and she is beautiful. The book is getting great reviews, including from Book Riot and Rolling Stone UK. Author Morgan Christie is an excellent speaker to adults and kids. She was a panelist at School Library Journal's Day of Dialogue in the fall, and she was at ABA's Children's Institute last summer. Morgan Christie splits her time between Toronto, Canada, and North Carolina. Until last year, she was living in New Orleans, where she finished her PhD. Next slide, please. I just wanted to show one of the spreads from the book. Marley Barreau's watercolor illustrations are just stunning, making the story even more impactful and memorable. This book is great for storytime read, and we have a free educator's guide available. Next slide, please. I'll also highlight some of our other celebratory picture books from Black authors. They've been widely praised and nominated for awards. In particular, Black Woman Who Dared received a rave review from School Library Journal and a starred review from Kirkus. Next slide, please. Next, I'm excited to highlight Like a Bird by Becky Citra, a teen novel that publishes next month in March 2025. Like a Bird is a vibrant coming-of-age novel with so much depth and tension. It's an atmospheric, thrilling YA featuring romance and high stakes. The book does deal with tough topics, including a pregnancy scare and the threat of forest fires. 17-year-old Rachel is an independent, strong protagonist that readers will really connect and relate to. It will also appeal to teens who are interested in climate fiction. Author Becky Citra is a former teacher and the author of over 20 award-winning and nominated books for children. The story follows Rachel, who's finally starting to come out of her shell in the rural community of Aspen Lake after the death of her mother a year ago. She's really connected with her grandparents, her younger sister Jane feels at home, and Rachel has a boyfriend named Cody. She and her family are all sweltering under the heat dome that summer, and though Rachel's heard about the dangerous wildfires in the interior of British Columbia, they all seem very far away. But then the grass turns yellow, and Rachel smells smoke all the time. Just when she was finally feeling comfortable, her new home threatens to go up in smoke. Worse, her grandfather refuses to leave. If the fires reach Aspen Lake, will Rachel and her family be able to make it out in time? And what will happen to everything they leave behind? The forest fires loom through the story, edging closer. Becky Citra is familiar with the area, and she really allows the reader to live in it and feel it. The way the earth feels like it's baking in the summer, the red sun looming through the smoke, how acrid the smoke is when it starts blowing into town. The climactic scene of them leaving the ranch under evacuation order is extremely powerful. Each time I've read it, I felt the hair on my arm stand up. On a personal note, this book is so relatable as I grew up in British Columbia, where my family has had to evacuate several times due to forest fires. Readers from across North America, whether they've experienced this personally or just heard about it on the news, will be very invested. The book has already received great early reviews from Booklist and Kirkus. Next slide, please. Here are some of our other novels that handle tough topics for teens, whether it's the death of a parent, coming out, or standing up to Nazis. In particular, I'll mention Under the Iron Bridge by Kathy Kacer, which is inspired by the true story of the Edelweiss Pirates, a group of teens in Germany during World War II who stood up to the Hitler Youth and worked to undermine the Nazis. It was nominated for multiple awards and praised by SLJ, Kirkus, and more. Next slide, please. That's all for me. If you have any questions or if you'd like to learn more about any of these books, don't hesitate to get in touch. I'd be happy to send along educational resources, bookmarks, swag, or advanced copies of the book. We want to support librarians. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Michaela. Next, we'll hear from Mel Schuett. Mel is the Assistant Marketing and Publicity Director of Children's Books at Quarto, where she gets to work with the best librarians and educators in the world. Outside of Quarto, Mel runs the blog Let's Talk Picture Books and co-hosts the annual Undies and Endies Awards with Travis Jonker and Carter Higgins. She shares her home with 4,000 picture books, 3 cats, and 1 tiny dog. The floor is yours, Mel.
Thank you so much, Julia, and hi, everyone. As Julia said, my name is Mel Schuett, and I'm the Assistant Director of Marketing and Publicity at the Quarto Group. A big thank you to Booklist today for hosting us and to you for tuning in. Just a run of show, we're going to start with some of our inclusive adult titles and then transition to our more youth-oriented titles. Next slide, please. How to Eat Well with Adults with ADHD, a practical non-diet guide to feeding your body and mind when you have ADHD is, as PW says, a must for anyone whose ADHD has negatively impacted their diet. Packed with simple strategies and practical tools, How to Eat Well for Adults with ADHD is a complete guide to how to cook regularly, eat intuitively, and nourish yourself well when you have ADHD. Rooted in author Becca King's weight-neutral, intuitive eating-based philosophy, this book breaks down how ADHD affects your relationship with food and gives you the tools to better develop an approach for your ADHD brain. Next slide, please. Becca King is a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and certified intuitive eating counselor from Charlotte, North Carolina. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Public Health with a minor in Women's Studies from the University of South Carolina and a Master of Science in Human Nutrition from Winthrop University. Becca is an adult with ADHD who struggled for years with disordered eating and chronic dieting and eventually found herself healing her relationship with food through intuitive eating. In July 2020, Becca launched ADHD Nutritionist LLC to help ADHDers work with their brains so that they can eat in a way that makes them feel best, mentally and physically. Becca's popular Instagram page, the ADHD Nutritionist, is the #1 page for content relating to ADHD and food. Started in 2020 as well, the page has grown to over 200,000 followers in 3 to 5 years and continues to attract new fans every day. Next slide, please. Reclaiming our natural rhythms and connections to the earth we walk on is essential to our health and well-being, both as individuals and as a community. Revered Roots introduces the wisdom and uses of over 90 North American plants by Indigenous Métis author and herbalist Lori Ann Bird, a purposeful and powerful reference to the lessons, nourishment, healing, and history of our plant teachers. Next slide, please. Lori Ann Bird is an Indigenous Métis herbalist and educator with a deep knowledge of wild, medicinal, and edible plants. She is a descendant from the Tsuut'ina, Dean, Cree, Nipissing, and Anishinaabe peoples mixed with French, Swedish, and Celtic ancestry. Lori Ann created Earth Awareness Realized Through Health and Company in 2013 to share First Peoples' perspectives on wild, edible, and medicinal plants. In 2022, Lori Ann and her friend Laura Cisneros founded In Harmony in Nature Collective to reclaim and share ancient arts. She walks gently and teaches primarily on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples, as well as the neighboring Coast Salish nations. Next slide, please. Cultivate a socially responsible design process with Universal Methods of Ethical Design, the first comprehensive survey of ethically centered design practices. Universal Methods of Ethical Design is a collection of 100 ethics-focused design methods to help design practitioners and students make a positive social impact. Explore diverse, accessible methods that weave ethics into your workflow, covering critical topics like feminist design, activism, privacy and security, legal policy, and governance. So next slide, please. Discover actionable strategies across every design phase, including user research, design scoping, ideation and concept generation, testing and evaluation, and product launch. Whether you're a designer, engineer, manager, or student, Universal Methods of Ethical Design is an essential reference for building socially responsible and impactful designs. Author Colm M. Gray is a researcher and designer focusing on human-computer interaction, design, and education. They are an associate professor and director of human-computer interaction design at the Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering at Indiana University. Next slide, please. The long-awaited K-Quick from best-selling author and chef Judy Ju is here, bringing all the comfort, joy, and delicious flavors of Korea directly to your kitchen. Easy, quick, and accessible, this essential guide is perfect for anyone looking to cook Korean cuisine. With interest in K-food at an all-time high, there's never been a better time to explore the incredible, diverse flavors of East Asia. K-Quick focuses on quick and easy recipes that blend creative flair with accessibility, ensuring mealtime is a tasty success. Next slide, please. Each recipe features clear, time-specific instructions, and Judy guides readers through the process as they create delicious Korean treats in under 30 minutes. As a Korean American, French-trained chef based in London and New York, Judy Ju's culinary expertise spans the globe. She's an expert in cooking and has specialties in pastry and Korean cuisine. She's a renowned television star, an international restaurateur, a columnist for OK Magazine, and a cookbook author. Next slide, please. For the first time, over a dozen respected Indigenous elders from around the world have united to share their timeless wisdom beyond their lands and lineages. Through Indigenous teachings and healing practices, sacred ceremony for a sacred earth calls upon us to awaken and rekindle the flame of connection with our roots and the natural world. In a time fraught with ecological, social, political, and mental health crises, Aniwa's Council of Elders share a mission to unite people of all races, colors, and creeds to promote healing and a deeper reciprocal relationship with our planet. Next slide, please. Aniwa's mission is to unite people of all races, colors, and creeds, and promote a deeper reciprocal relationship with the earth by creating a transformative space where seekers from all walks of life can connect, learn, and heal together. Aniwa honors, and preserves ancestral wisdom and promotes environmental stewardship and cultivates a deeper understanding of our shared mission as humanity while striving to inspire a collective commitment to living in harmony with nature and each other, ensuring that the timeless wisdom of Indigenous peoples continues to guide future generations. Next slide, please. This is our last adult title for today. What if you need to succeed and manifest your goals is what you've been trying to overcome, your ADHD? ADHD Reset is a new and hopeful perspective that transforms ADHD from an obstacle to a source of power. Creator of the popular handle Modern Hippie Mindset, ADHD coach Claire Michalski shows how to reset your mindset and approach to living with ADHD, not living in spite of it. The ADHD Reset offers dozens of practical tools and strategies that will help you move from feeling limited to liberated. Coaching, interactive journal practices, and a step-by-step approach set you up to shift your mindset, clarify your objectives, and find your unique magic. Next slide, please. Claire Michalski is the founder of Modern Hippie Mindset. She is an ADHD coach, a businesswoman, public speaker, author, and she's very passionate about helping individuals with ADHD live more holistic, purpose-driven lives. After years of navigating her own ADHD challenges, Claire embraced it as a unique gift, creating a coaching methodology that blends scientific insights with holistic wellness practices. With a background in techniques like neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy, and motivational coaching, she empowers her clients to reframe their ADHD experience and unlock their full potential. Next slide, please. We're also kicking off our children's section here with another ADHD book. I have a secret that lives in my brain. I call him 80, but that's not his name. Doctors told Dad it's called ADHD, but that's way too boring for 80 and me. In 80 and Me, learn about neurodivergence in a thoughtful, fun-filled story written by the iconic duo behind ADHD love, Rich and Rox Pink. Join Sophie and her best friend 80 as they get ready for school and attend class. But 80 wants to be friends with everyone, is doodling on the pages of Sophie's notebook, spilling paint, getting distracted during math lessons. Sophie and 80 must work together to find a place where they are happy and celebrated together, as everyone should be, on their journey, from misunderstanding to acceptance. Next slide, please. With almost 1 million followers across their ADHD Love social channels, authors Rich and Rox bring their personal experience of neurodivergence to the story, sharing their important message that ADHD isn't something to be ashamed of, but rather to be understood and celebrated. AD&Me is a powerful and important picture book that will allow even the youngest children to recognize and understand what ADHD is and why it's something to celebrate and not be ashamed of. Next slide, please. The twisty, turny, but triumphant rise of women's soccer is truly one of the most fascinating stories in sports history, especially women's history. From the very birth of the sport in 19th century England, girls and women have always found a way to play and keep playing the sport they love in spite of bans, challenges, rules, backward-looking attitudes. Girls with Goals tells the story of the incredible rise of women's soccer from its humble origins, 19th century Britain, to today, with all of the astonishing victories that have propelled women's soccer into becoming the global phenomenon that it is today. Next slide, please. Whether you're just starting your soccer journey or you're an experienced player who already loves the sport, you'll come to understand women's soccer in a completely new way through intriguing tales and anecdotes, and meeting important characters in the sport from past and present, including the perspective of marginalized sports people. Girls with Goals will honor women who fought hard to play the sport they loved and paved the way for athletes playing all women's sports today. Next slide, please. Discover the joy and meaning of Pride, a very special celebration for LGBTQIA+ people and allies all around the world. It's Pride Month, and Brian is preparing for his local Pride Parade with his family and friends. Lucky for you, they're inviting you along to learn more. Embark on an inspiring month of learning and loving with Celebrations and Festivals Pride, a beautifully illustrated narrative nonfiction picture book specifically designed for children. Next slide, please. This engaging and informative book takes young readers on a colorful journey through the history and significance of Pride, told with gentle, age-appropriate voice. Amy Phelps is an American illustrator from the Central Coast of California. They grew up visiting the local library every weekend and always adored picture books and other children's media. Next slide, please. Bold, Brilliant, and Latine is arguably one of my favorite books of this coming season. In it, you meet 52 Latine and Hispanic heroes in a celebratory and inspiring biography anthology. Bold, Brilliant, and Latine is a heartwarming and soul-rousing book for Latine and Hispanic children and families, homeschoolers, and educators studying Latine and Hispanic history and achievement. Next slide, please. Author Alyssa Reynosa Maurice is a queer Afro-Latin, ex-Dominican, and Puerto Rican award-winning storyteller, and her ability to weave compelling stories has truly opened the doors for her as an author and speaker. She was born and raised in the Bronx in New York, and currently lives in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with her partner and daughter. Next slide, please. And that's it for today for Quarto. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please reach out with any questions. My contact info is on the screen, and you can find us on all social media platforms under Quarto US Books and Quarto Kids. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mel. Next, we'll hear from Emily Radica and Julia Stivers. Emily has been in education for over 17 years, both as a teacher and as a school librarian. She is currently back in the classroom teaching high school English in the high desert in Southern California. She has presented about manga and comics at various conferences and conventions around the country and loves talking about all things graphic. Julia is the upper school librarian at Carolina Friends School and the author of the AASL Shared Foundation Guide Include. This year, she is teaching both an anime elective and a comic lit English seminar and considers exploring the power of manga and anime with her students, a central piece of her library practice. Take it away, Emily and Julia.
Hi, so I'm Emily, and this slide just shows all of our co-authors on our Manga Goes to School. I'm just one of many who have been working on this. And if you want to contact any of us, Ashley or Sarah or Muna, feel free to. We love to get comments and questions and anything that you have questions about. So Manga Goes to School, it's a little bit different because it's a book about inclusion and the importance of including something that a lot of librarians may still feel a little unsure about. So we wanted to kind of highlight how important it is to include manga on your shelves. Next slide, please. Keep going. So something really basic about manga is the pronunciation manga. It's both a singular and a plural form of the word. Also important to note is that it's a format, not a genre. So a lot of times we'll hear people say like, oh, the genre of manga. And it's like, no, there's so many genres within that format. It's just, it's any other graphic, like a graphic novel. There are many genres within this format. So, that way you say the word correctly, manga, and you can use it for the singular, the plural. You could say you have manga on your shelf if you have one book or 200 books. Next. All right, so an important part of understanding manga is how to read it, and it's one of the questions that we get a lot. So when you think of reading in our Western world, you think of the Z, right? Like, oh, you start here and you go across and you go down. But for manga, it's best to think of it like an S. So you start on the top right-hand side and you kind of work your way down like an S. But another part of manga that we get a lot of is oh, it's backwards. It's you turn around and you read it backward. And this is something that we talk about a lot because language has meaning and power. And when we say something is backward, it often has a very specific connotation to it. Backward often means, you know, behind or something negative. So we want people to think about manga as being in a flipped format, or it's been printed according to the artistic intent of the creators. So try and, you know, think of it as not backward, it's just flipped. Go ahead. And I'm going to pass this over to Julie so she can talk about her side. Go for it, Julie.
Yes. Okay. This is kind of underpinning everything we're talking about. No community is a monolith, obviously. All of our students have unique interests and lived experiences within identity groups. And we know that manga connects and is extremely popular with members of one or more marginalized communities, including Black, Indigenous students of color, queer students, and neurodivergent colors, and all of the beautiful connections and intersectionalities therein. So not collecting manga in our schools is an equity issue. This webinar is titled Inclusive Shelves. To have inclusive shelves, having manga is non-negotiable. We could talk for an hour about this. We could talk for an hour about any slide, but we'll go to the next one. We just wanted to underpin this before we give our specific recommendations.
Okay, so back to me. So I do have some recommendations for elementary school level students. These are some basic ones. And actually my own personal children are huge manga readers. So my kids, when I was talking to them, they're like, Mom, you have to include these because they're just well loved. And Sailor Moon is a title that lots of people know. It has a big following here in the West. And even though it's a little bit older, it still has a huge impact on just like general manga. So if you are an elementary librarian and you're not quite sure where to start with something like Sailor Moon. My 10-year-old loves it. She's like, oh, it's so fun. She's so pretty. She loves the design. She just loves the story. Some of the more recent publications, and there have been some more recent publications of it, have a little bit of older imagery in it, but some of the original like publications are very like grade 4 and up. So that's another one. Yotsuba and is another one that is very popular. It's kind of a little girl who just always gets into trouble and she's just very excited all the time. My 8-year-old loves Yotsuba and so that's another one that is a little bit older but still very popular and a lot of fun for younger grade 1 and up to read. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super is another one that I would say is grade 4 and up. There is some more violence in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, a little bit more graphic action, nothing too graphic, but there is, depending on which one you get, there can be a little bit more. So know your audience, of course, but it's just one that has a huge cultural impact and is always a great one to include on your elementary shelves. Next. Middle school and high school, Solo Leveling. I have to shout out Solo Leveling because it is so popular right now. And there's a new season out. My sons have already like watched it. They're so excited about it. But definitely a grade 9 and up. It has a lot of violence in it, a lot of more graphic violence in the anime and the manga, but it is very well loved and very popular. It's full color and just beautifully done, but it is a little bit more violent. But my 15-year-old loves it because he says it's violent but also funny. Cat Plus Gamer. I don't know if it's Cat Plus Gamer or just Cat Gamer with a little symbol for the video game in there, but I call it Cat Plus Gamer. And it's just a very sweet story about how a cat just can really mess up your whole life but a loving, sweet, fun way. Excuse me. It's very sweet. It does have an adult main character, but the themes of like video gaming and animals and just kind of allowing that to just be a part of your life is something that high schoolers will also love. So I'd say it would go down to 6th grade, but it does have more of an adult character, just so I don't know, your middle schoolers might like it or not, your students better. And then the last one, Girl from the Other Side, is also just beautiful and weird. And I really love Girl from the Other Side. It's very different than some other manga that you may see, but I would say it's grade 8 and up. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Just creepy and weird, but interesting. So check out Girl from the Other Side. Back to you, Julie.
Okay, so Emily didn't mention this, but it was like very, very hard to pick 3 per slide. I broke up mine a little differently. So I have elementary and middle on one slide. My main elementary title is The Fox and Little Tanuki. So Fox and Tanuki, which if you are unfamiliar, Tanuki is kind of a animal native to Japan. It's kind of, some people call it a raccoon dog. So imagine something adorable halfway between a raccoon and a dog. But both foxes and Tanuki are very present in Japanese folklore. Part of what makes manga so exciting for students is that it connects them to another culture, another art, and a whole world of mythology and folklore that we don't have in the West. The Fox and Little Tanuki, I'm going to be honest with you, the first time I started it, I bought it from my middle school. I used to be a middle school librarian, and I was like, okay, let me look at this because I wanted some more animal titles. And I read the whole series because it's adorable. It's about the character that's kind of on the bottom, Senzu. He is a very powerful fox who's been imprisoned for 300 years. And he can be let out only if he will babysit the little tanuki that you see on the top, Manpachi. So we go through their relationship and growing relationship and all of the hijinks that ensue there. So the Fox and the Little Tanuki is adorable. So even though it says grades 3 and up, and it's great for elementary, I had it in my middle school too. The next, the guy she was interested in wasn't a guy at all. I love this manga. It's probably one of my favorite that I've read this year. It's new, so there's just 1 volume out so far. So that's why I said grades 7 and up for volume 1. It has an interesting color palette. It's bright lime green on the front and through the pages, and it's very it has a very kind of cool credibility about it, the way that it looks, the way the art style is, and it's also like a totally good age fit for middle school. It is about 2 cis girls, and the girl on the right, you can see on the cover, has a crush on who she thinks is a boy at a local record store. It turns out this individual is actually a female classmate, and their relationship grows from there. It's adorable, it's sweet, and it also has a really nice background of like 80s, 90s American music, like rock music, if your students are into that. So Emily mentioned, okay, 2 minutes. I'm going to go fast. Emily mentioned Solo Leveling and that there was an anime out. We call it the anime bump. Your students will be asking for more manga when an anime comes out, and that's why I put My Happy Marriage here. Another beautiful, kind of, I would call it a retelling of Cinderella. It's just lovely. It's sweet. It's soothing. The 2nd season is out right now, so I highly recommend. Next. You can see I'm recommending a lot of queer titles. I am really happy that the other presenters have mentioned queer titles a lot. We need to double down when our queer students are hearing negative things in the world and in the news. We in our libraries can be more positive and more affirming and collect more. The first one, The Summer Hikaru Died, is like a combination of BL, boys love, and horror. It has this really cool juxtaposition with these unsettling images and then these beautiful pastel soft covers. Boys Run the Riot is kind of a modern classic, trans mangaka or creator. Even the English translator is trans, and it is the story about friendship and also street fashion, coupled with identity. And then She Loves to Cook, She Loves to Eat is an adult story, but I think it's a great fit for high school, especially my high school librarians know as your students get closer to 11th and 12th grade, they start not wanting to read about high school students anymore and kind of reading about maybe what is next. And She Loves to Cook, She Loves to Eat is a great one for that. It's a sapphic love story. It's really swoony, lots of body positivity, and it normalizes eating in a way that when I was reading it, I had never read a book like that, that normalized eating for women in such a unique way. So those are my three main recs for high school. Next. And this is the book that Emily and myself and Sarah and Ashley and Muna created. It's available from ALA. It's filled with many, many, many more manga recommendations. It includes 12 lesson plans. It includes art, a deep dive into everything manga, and it's also tied into the AASL standards. Thank you. I'm sorry, I might have gone over like 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh, you are perfect. Thank you so much, Emily and Julia. And a big thank you to all of today's presenters. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones like those you see here. Booklist is back with a brand new series of free readers advisory workshops on Wednesday, March 12th. Join us for 3 sessions led by library experts in the field focusing on genre blending in adult and YA titles, nonfiction readers advisory, and hot tips for hand selling. All sessions will be recorded. To be sure you receive the recording and other workshop resources, sign up on our website. New year, new website. Booklist is thrilled to share our newly designed website with an enhanced search engine, new recommendation resources, special content for ALA members, and so much more. Head over to booklistonline.com to start exploring. And speaking of new content for ALA members, we are thrilled to announce that the digital version of the Booklist Reader, the monthly readers advisory magazine from the editors of Booklist, is now an ALA member benefit. Head over to our new site to start reading. And if you're not already a Booklist subscriber, you'll use your ALA membership ID to sign in. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. One more huge thank you to our panelists, Emily and Julia of AASL, and to our sponsors, Fabled Films Press, Second Story Press, and Quarto Book Group. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.